You all remember Will Smith, right? And you remember the slap that was heard around the world, right?
Oh, wow! Wow!
What should have been a rather one-sided done deal became instead a highly politicized issue across the internet. Segments of the left stood for it for the reasoning that women need simping for, even in a physical sense, even though Chris's comment was just a joke and Jada Pinkett Smith isn't somebody worth standing up for anyway, even if jokes were a punchable offense.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
And there were even some segments of the right who were making just a general call for a certain principle to make a comeback in relation to Will Smith, and that quote-unquote principle is talk shit, get hit, giving a big fat middle finger to the principle of freedom of speech, and these kinds of sentiments are from people who you'd think are for freedom of speech. Now, I've heard some people interpret talk shit, get hit to only mean that if you're gossiping about somebody and they catch wind of you gossiping about them, then it's fair game for them to assault you, not necessarily assaulting somebody for any and all speech that you think is worth fighting for. But this advocacy of hitting people wasn't in relation to gossiping, it was in relation to somebody joking about another person in public and in their face.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it.
But I'm not here to go over a 3-year-old subject. I'm here to talk about 2 more recent stories involving a psycho hitting or attempting to hit somebody over mere words. Brianna Rivers and Brock Horner.
A point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
I'm the best charter captain you'll ever meet in your motherfucking life.
Let's start with the former. Savannah Craven Antow is a pro-life activist for pro-life group Live Action. She was interviewing and debating people on the street of the Bronx till she ran into and debated Brianna Rivers, the lady responsible for punching her.
A point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
Thankfully, she's been arrested and thrown in jail for this, but despite that, she's gained a ton of adoration and defenders saying that she was justified for what she did because Savannah supposedly put words in her mouth. Which, if that's a justifiable reason to be hitting people, then apparently I need to get busy because I got a long laundry list of people who brazenly insist to misrepresent and even lie about what I say. But that ain't my belief nor way of handling liars, so let's move on. Brianna herself even made the claim that Savannah edited and took her out of context. I don't know the exact time lapse between Live Action uploading which version of the interview and Brianna making this statement, but all I know is that Live Action did in fact upload the full unedited version, and truth be told, there was no important context left out. Now, I'm all for showing the fuller context of a subject or conversation, and to an extent I empathize with Brianna because, again, I've been taken out of context too before, be it intentionally or unintentionally, but context is only really important if it's actually relevant to a claim being made about what a person said. It's kind of similar if somebody wanted to report a crime that happened to them. They wouldn't divulge what happened in their entire day, only the stuff that happened within the 5 minutes of the crime itself. But if there's something that happened 5 minutes before that, like for example they're reporting you for assaulting them, but it's found out that 5 minutes before the reported event that they stole something from you, then that extra context would be relevant to prove your innocence. You wouldn't say, oh, but officer, I dropped off my daughter at school 3 hours ago, so therefore that's proof that I didn't beat the crap out of that guy, because that's in no ways relevant to prove your innocence or justification for beating him up. No, that's not how context works. So with this principle in mind, let's look at the footage, specifically the point where there's a jump cut all the way to the point of the beating.
I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
So the provoking point of this moment is when Savannah says Brianna wants to kill foster kids. I can only presume this is the claimed statement that people are saying Savannah edited and took Brianna out of context over. Otherwise, what else could everyone be referring to? Nobody's specifying the exact saying taken out of context that justifies Brianna punching Savannah, just leaving it at she shouldn't have been putting words in her mouth. But let's listen back.
Don't ever sit here and lock yourself down with a man who already told you he doesn't want to be with you. He doesn't.
I agree with you.
I'm not disagreeing with you either. I understand.
You don't get to kill the baby just because their dad didn't want them.
You can.
Should we kill the kids in foster care? And
why not?
Okay, so far she just went full mask off saying they should, or saying, why not? Which is an obviously implied, heavily implied yes.
Why not, if that's the case?
Thought I just emphasized that she's all for it.
We should kill the kids in foster care that aren't wanted?
Who's gonna take care of them?
Honestly, it doesn't matter. Not being taken care of doesn't negate somebody's right to not be murdered. Are we really gonna run around with the assumption that those kids just want to die if they aren't being fully taken care of? But I'm getting distracted. Notice that the context is still the same as Savannah sees it. Brianna doesn't walk back her statement, doesn't even try to recontextualize her own words by saying, I meant let's kill those unborn unwanted kids, not the already born foster kids. No, the context of everything is still that Brianna is referring to born kids in foster care who she just wants to kill.
I need to know the percentage of people who take children from foster care and abuse them and molest them, who make them like personal slaves.
Before even looking into the numbers, I'm full well willing to believe that the percentage is higher than that of kids who are adopted or with their blood guardians. That being said, it doesn't mean it's a majority. And what do you know? It isn't. 40% of foster kids are maltreated, not that it's relevant to their right to life, but still. And of that 40%, 53% are just neglected. And depending on what kind of neglect we're talking about, isn't even near as bad as just being killed as Brianna is literally okay with. Though, to be fair, the same article I found that says 40% of foster kids are abused also says in a later part that 53% of foster kids are neglected. Like, that's an extra 13% compared to the first number presented. So are you lumping neglect in as abuse, or are you classifying that as something different, or what? But continuing with the article, 16% of foster children are physically abused, which is a kind of low number already, and a lower number is sexual abuse, which is only 4.4%. And before anybody gets triggered, this isn't to say it's no big deal. It's still a problem that needs solved on of its own, which the article does say needs to be done. It's to say that killing foster kids supposedly to save them from their own misery isn't even statistically worth it.
We should just kill them.
Statistics before you come to me talking about pro-life.
We should kill the victims of molestation.
They're talking past each other a lot, so it's hard to make out, but I think Brianna said, I need you to talk about specifics before you talk about pro-life. No, we don't. It's simply a question of, do the unborn deserve the right to life? And you trying to distract with all these questions of, what about molestation of foster kids, or this, that, or the other thing does not negate that. And besides, from a legal standpoint, those things are already illegal. A person who eventually gets found to be touching their kid is just as much gonna get criminally punished as an abortion surgeon who gets eventually caught. That is, if and when abortion is illegal in each appropriate state.
I think, what does this have to do with molestation?
Okay, I'm starting to think that maybe Brianna isn't paying attention to her own words coming out of her mouth.
I need to know the percentage of people who take children from foster care and abuse them and molest them.
Maybe that's partly why she said after this incident that Savannah took her out of context, is because Brianna barely remembers herself saying why not to Savannah's should we kill foster kids question. Even if that is the case, it still doesn't mean Savannah took her out of context. It just means Brianna has to pay attention to her own words more.
You just mentioned people molesting children. We should kill the kids in foster care is what you said.
What I'm saying is in general, overall.
And this part here is probably what really makes Brianna and all her defenders say that Savannah took her out of context. Or it's the closest thing I could find out of everything here anyways. And to that I say, it does not change the context of her response to Savannah's earlier question. It doesn't matter if by, in general, overall, she means we should only kill 51% of foster kids. Heck, it doesn't even matter if what she meant was that we only kill 5% of foster kids in order to save them from molestation and abuse. The fact that that is an option that she's for at all still makes her a bloodthirsty bitch.
If I don't want to have a baby, I should have the choice to.
Just don't have sex then. Just don't have sex.
That's not even logical.
It is.
Funny that she responds that way, cause sex is anything but logical. It's emotional more than anything. But if you're so freaking spooked at the idea of having a kid, the surefire way of preventing that is to just not have sex. Because even with birth control, there's still a tiny chance, but having no sex, unless if you're raped or sperm evolves to grow legs in order to crawl inside you to impregnate you, there's literally zero chance of getting pregnant. It is perfectly logical, and anyone who says otherwise is just letting their lizard brain take control.
It is.
Who are you, Nancy?
I sound dumb.
You do.
Okay.
I really wish that live action wasn't so prudish to bleep out all the curse words, because I couldn't understand what Brianna said there and Savannah was laughing at.
It does, because even as teens, people explore. And it's like, as funny as you want to be, people should still have the choice.
Brianna, you seem like a reasonable person. Actually, what am I talking about? You resort to cavemaning out on Savannah later, making you rather unreasonable. But you've made plenty of statements throughout this exchange, especially before the clip I'm covering, where you suggested people take more responsibility in life with sex, adulting, and otherwise. So you know better. You personally can at least take Savannah's advice to wait on having sex until you're less scared of having a kid, and so can everyone else who hears her. Heck, even the dumb kids you mentioned should have some iota of knowledge of how babies are made and not stick their dicks in vaginas. They can do hand jobs, blow jobs, or even just masturbate by themselves if they're so curious to explore. What you're saying does not negate the afraid of having kids, don't bang advice.
I don't give a if it's, oh no, oh it was a mistake today, oh my God,
Do you believe in God?
Do you
believe in God? Do you believe in God?
I don't know what the fuck does believing in God have to do with Brianna trying to say teens should be allowed to have sex without anyone even advising that they shouldn't. Dumbest point of Savannah's. And I think I'm gonna skip the religion tangent they go on about. Is that okay with y'all? I can't even imagine any Brianna defenders saying anything in that segment is relevant to whether Savannah took Brianna out of context or not, so we're gonna skip that.
And I think you're an idiot if you don't think it is.
So you went from saying that my outfit was really cute to saying I'm an effing idiot. That's so mean.
But I think that
I only played that clip to show that Brianna started walking away, and that's ultimately what she should have done for her own sake and for decency's sake. She had the wherewithal to do it, but unfortunately...
The view is very obstructed, and I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child.
Yeah, well, I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really...
So that was everything relating to abortion from the time of Brianna giving her answer to Savannah's question up to the point of the assault. And as you've seen and as I pointed out, Savannah did not take Brianna out of context or twist her words or put words in her mouth like y'all claimed. Not that that would have been justification to hit somebody, but even if it was, Savannah didn't do it. So the assault was double unjustified. It ain't Savannah's fault that what Brianna said was really fucked up, being okay with the idea of killing foster kids and all. Brianna could have at least tried to recontextualize or retract her own answer, but she didn't. All she did was just say, in general, overall, which doesn't change the context of her answer really at all. It's still killing foster kids, and all Savannah did was throw Brianna's own words back at her. And at that point, if something clicked in your head to make you fully realize that what you said was fucked up, the only person you should be angry at is yourself. Now, I don't know about you all, but I'm tired of seeing violent, bitchy pro-choicers get away with their assault, so I'm going to play this clip as a palate cleanser. A violent pro-choicer getting immediately retaliated against.
Miscarriage is a medical abortion.
No, it's not. Okay, let me educate you, okay?
Yes, it
Well, hold on.
yes.
Hold on. Get back. Hey, get back. Hey.
Hey, that's not okay. Don't put your hands.
Hey, get back. Stop. Don't put your hands on her. Please, I don't want to scare your daughter. Please get away.
The story of Brock Horner should be less controversial, though even he isn't without his supporters. I mean, look at the amount of likes on that tweet supporting him as of the time of this screen cap. My goodness. Brock Horner is a former fishing boat charter captain from Florida man be crazy, who got confused and pissed off at a younger fisherman to where he attempted to assault him over words, basically. He too, like Brianna, got arrested for assault, though it doesn't make sense to me that he'd get arrested for assault specifically, because from what I could tell, he didn't successfully lay hands on Gage, but you know what he did do? He invaded and boarded Gage's boat over the stupid shit.
What, like 5 in the morning?
Yep.
Yeah.
Busting me out?
Nah, that was the dude in that boat. Were you the one that came through the middle of the bridge? Was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I was here, but you ran in front of the other dude over there.
This is going to be a recurring factoid. Apparently the moment that ensued everything else to happen was Brock speeding through this relatively narrow space under the bridge while Gage and another guy, both in 2 different boats, were close by.
Bro, you ran right through the middle of the bridge while we were all fishing.
Another recurring thing being said in this exchange is Brock keeps on mentioning how he was cussed out by somebody. He claims it's Gage Tolles, who is the guy with the body cam, while Gage claims it was some other guy. Hard to confirm because it's a bunch of he said bull crap going on right now. But even if it is true that Gage was the guy who cussed Brock out, I'm willing to bet that there are more people in agreement that the cussing out was more deserved, considering how Brock was being reckless, dashing through a narrow waterway, let alone do we think that Gage deserved to get punched by Brock. But if it is false and Gage isn't the one who cussed Brock out, then he has even less justification to attempt to assault him.
In the middle of the fucking night, the guy didn't have any lights on.
So that's his reason to not be cussed out. One of the other guys didn't have his lights on. Doesn't matter if he did or did not. If he didn't, he's equally stupid, but you're stupid either way for dashing past a couple of boats in such close proximity. You could have clipped the motherfucker, dummy.
Bro, we were all fishing here. The fucking... Alright.
So that's gonna be his continued excuse. The other guy didn't have lights on, so he was justified in dashing under the bridge.
Bro, I'm not gonna do this with you, bro. I'm not gonna fucking do this with you, bro. Like, it's not the right time, bro.
Even less reason for Brock to punch Gage. Gage didn't want a continuing situation to continue heating up to the point of a scuffle. He tried ending the argument, but Brock continues.
Bro, you can't come flying through the middle of the fucking bridge, bro.
Oh shit, yes I can.
Alright, bro.
Imagine for a moment that this was a car traffic situation, and Brock was going 20 to 30 over the speed limit of a residential or business street at night. He almost hit a guy who didn't have his headlights on, and he had the unmitigated gall to say, "Turn your lights on, I almost hit ya." That's what this feels like. So the catalyst moment of jackassery from Brock isn't being contested over. He admits he was dashing under the bridge, and let me be clear that it shouldn't matter if it was technically against the law or not. You're not in some speed boating daredevil competition of where you have to shoot through a narrow bridge without hitting anything. You were entering shallow docking waters through a narrow space under a bridge with possibly other boatmen being nearby, in which there were, by the way. So common sense dictates that you should slow the fuck down. Even then, I find it funny that Brock tries to pull the law on Gage when he apparently doesn't know the law himself. National water navigation rules set by the Coast Guard dictate that you should slow down when it's dark and you're within close proximity of objects and the general shore, specifically slow it down to 10 kilometers per hour, or 6 miles per hour is for us Americans. Florida law emphasizes this even more, so get bent.
What are you trying to do, bro?
What am I trying to
What are you trying to do, bro?
You wanna fucking go?
I don't want to fucking go. I want you to get the fuck out of here.
So this is simultaneously hilarious and infuriating at the same time. Brock starts projecting his own attitude and motives onto Gage. And to Gage's question, why didn't Brock just answer his question, I wonder? If I was in Brock's shoes, not that I'd ever be there because I'm not a boatman nor am I this big of an idiot, let alone would I go out of my way to assault somebody over this petty shit. But if it was me, big fat if it was me, I'd say I'd want an apology, because that was what Brock ultimately wanted, as you'll see, but I don't know why he doesn't just tell him that at this point of this encounter.
Big tough guy?
Tough guy? You pulled up on me, motherfucker.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
What did you do about it?
Nah, shit. I'm fishing, you fucking... Like, bro, get out of here.
I can't believe the gall and lack of self-awareness from Brock for him to continue like this, saying what he is saying. Clearly, Brock is trying to act like the tough guy, not Gage, but Brock says Gage wants to act like the tough guy. But you can tell Gage was about to call him a fucking asshole, and I think he should have finished that. And people are gonna, of course, come back to me saying that that would have just escalated things. Maybe, but don't contest with me that Brock is, in fact, being a huge projecting asshole.
Like, what? What are you trying to do? Act like a tough guy in front of your buddies?
No, I'm not. Dude, all these motherfuckers know I'm tough, motherfucker.
Side note, saying motherfucker a million times in one sentence doesn't make you a tough guy. But this is just sad. Obviously, he's trying to prove, assert, and affirm that he's alpha dog. Really, if you have to say you're tough whilst making a big show out of it, you're likely not as tough as you say you are. Alpha males don't say themselves that they're tough or alpha, they just are.
Bro, alright, bro.
You know what?
Get going, bro.
You almost don't catch it, but Gage tells Brock to get going, still trying to just exit the argument.
We're all fucking war veterans. We're all raised.
Well, thank you for your service, bro.
Just because you're a war veteran doesn't mean you get to be the boss of all non-serving civilians, and it doesn't mean you're automatically right or in the right on anything, except maybe on stuff directly relating to your military service, like combat and survivability, if you were specifically taught in those. Is there anybody who literally thinks that war veterans are automatically right on everything?
And you're gonna talk shit shit.
Thank you for your service, bro. But that doesn't give you the right.
Million pussy ass fuck.
Alright, bro.
But apparently Bronx thinks it does. He's got his head so far up his own ass that he can't envision ever being wrong on anything, as he really starts to just lose it right here.
Alright, whatever. I appreciate you for your service, bro. But you don't gotta run through the middle of the bridge, bro.
Dude, if your guy doesn't have his fucking lights
That's
on,
not-
More deflecting to the other guy. I can't believe it. You can't make this shit up. This is part of why I'm against talk shit, get hit. Because often people who think someone else deserves to get popped in the mouth over mean or disrespectful words are the same people who get so irrationally angry that they lose all sense of logic and often end up being wrong according to their own reasoning for wanting to beat a person up. Keep that aspect and that part of this clip in mind when we get to the end of this video.
Not my guy, bro. That's just another fucking dude, bro.
you have to have lights on.
My lights were on, bro.
Fucking lights.
My lights were on.
To add insult to injury about what I last said, Brock is so angry that he refuses to listen to Gage. He had his lights on, but Brock starts changing up his argumentation and framing like if Gage was the guy without his lights on. If part of his reasoning for wanting to hit somebody is if they didn't have their boat lights on, then at the bare least, Gage isn't the guy whose ass he should kick. It's the other guy who apparently isn't even here in the moment. So Brock should just move the fuck on. But he doesn't, cause his ego is bruised.
Hits you, guess what the fuck happens? You die, nothing happens to me.
Right, okay, bro. Keep thinking that.
I would not have responded this way if I was in Gage's shoes. Like, I think what Gage meant to say, keep thinking that too, was Brock saying nothing happens to me at the end of his statement, like if his boat is invincible and the other people's boats will crumple like soda cans in a rhetorical boat crash, which is pretty laughable. But with the flow of the conversation, it feels open-ended enough to where a person can think Gage is scoffing at Brock's, granted rather pretentious, safety concerns about a guy not having his boat lights on.
No, that's the fucking truth, dude.
Alright, bro. Keep thinking that.
Yeah, Gage is definitely not helping himself there. With all of his efforts of de-escalation people are crediting him for, Gage is not helping himself by saying keep thinking that.
Put your fucking lights on.
Still not having listened to what Gage said earlier. If anything, Brock deserved a punch in the face.
Bro, my lights were on. I wasn't sitting there. Okay, that's not my dude, bro.
Cuss me the fuck out for it.
Bro, I said, bro, you almost fucking hit him. The other dude was fucking cussing you out.
I almost hit him because he didn't have his motherfucking lights on.
Bro, you shouldn't come flying through the middle of the bridge. You know people fish here, bro.
Dude,
I'm sorry, man. I don't know if that's what you want to hear, bro.
If you look close enough, right as he just says dude, Brock throws his hand in the air and goes to his boat controls to drive his boat closer. Like if he just realized that he got out-logicked in an argument by a man almost half his age and now he's gonna resort to violence.
yeah, you should apologize, motherfucker.
But, bro.
You're on the water more than you can possibly fathom in your wild
Me.
motherfucking dreams.
Me too, bro.
He just apologized for something that isn't even his fault, but that's not enough for Brock. So this is when the whole thing comes to a climax.
I'm out here all the time, bro.
I'm 300 days a year on the motherfucking water.
So fucking what? Doesn't give you the right to be a speed demon. And if you're gonna continue being stupid like that, expect to be cussed out, jackass.
All right,
Every
bro.
day, I'm the best charter captain you'll ever meet in your motherfucking life.
All right,
If
bro.
you cuss me out.
Aw, someone cussed you out. You need your binky whittle baby, Brock. It would have been so cathartic at this point of this encounter if Gage pulled out a gun on Brock's ass right as he was about to board. I so wish that would have happened, just to make Brock shit his pants and get back on his boat. And I doubt that would have made things much worse for Gage, because all of Brock's buddies looked like they wanted nothing to do with this as it was going on, as they just keep on looking down, practically trying to make sure that they're hidden away from the cameras. They wouldn't have drawn on Gage, and Brock wouldn't have been able to draw either, even if he was somehow packing heat underneath his clothing.
Chill, bro. Chill, bro. Please, bro.
Don't hit the fucking fire.
Please, okay, please, bro. Please, bro. Please, bro. Bro, I'm a kid, bro. Please.
Apologize.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro.
I've never seen someone be so adamant about wanting an apology from a total stranger in my life. He already did apologize.
Bro, I'm sorry, bro.
You're gonna cuss me the fuck out.
All right, bro.
In the middle of the
No, bro. Please, bro. Please,
Get me back to my
bro.
boat.
Okay. Please.
Fucking apologize.
I'm sorry, bro. That was not me, bro.
Yes, it was,
I know I
motherfucker.
was here, but my buddy was on the
me
boat.
back to-
And it is with this clip that I want to admit that Gage might not be the squeaky cleanest of truth tellers, cause somehow he changes it up to say that the other guy who actually cussed Brock out was his buddy, when earlier he was just referring to him as some dude, like if he was a total stranger. But even with that, I don't think Brock has enough justification in a court of law or by pure natural logic to say he was ultimately in the right to harass Gage and board his boat. And I'm more inclined to believe Gage still, considering how much he showed to be of more sound mind during this argument. Plus, Brock admitted that he was being an idiot by speeding under the bridge and between the two other boatmen, so that's an almost immediate disqualifier for him. I'm gonna end that clip right there. There's nothing more that is relevant context-wise or otherwise, just Brock continuing to be angry and cuss out and threaten Gage until he's eventually told by one of the other older men on his boat to get back on his boat, and then he finally does. Now for the ultimate question I'm sure some of you were thinking throughout this video. What do the story of Brock Horner and Brianna Rivers have to do with one another? Well, both were irrationally angry to where they thought that fists were needed to combat the words of Gage Tolles and Savannah Craven appropriately. Both assaultees talked shit, supposedly, to where they needed to get hit, per according to the assaulters and their defenders. Both psychos were also wrong within their own personal reasons for hitting both victims, not paying attention enough to what was being said for them to be right even within their own beliefs. Brianna reveals later the excuse for why she got mad to the point of violence with Savannah. Sure, she apologizes in the same release statement for hitting her, but still, her excuse was the thought that Savannah in live action took her out of context, and that's what a big chunk of her defenders say too. But even if that's justifiable reasoning to hit somebody, she's wrong, because if you look back at the whole exchange, Brianna said yes to the idea of killing foster kids, the words that Savannah claims Brianna spoke, and she didn't even say anything to walk back or recontextualize her own words, just said in general, overall, which doesn't change the fact that she said she's for killing foster kids, so Savannah shouldn't have been punched either way. Brock's reasoning for punching Gage is multifaceted. Within the exchange, it's being revealed he had a problem with Gage not turning his lights on and cussing him out. But even if that's justifiable reasoning to hit somebody, he's wrong too, as it's more likely that Gage has the better recollection of the other day, as he keeps on bringing up factoids of the incident within the argument that Brock just kept ignoring and not paying attention to, and Gage did in fact have his own lights on and didn't even cuss Brock out. Whatever cussing out means to Brock, because technically they both cuss out each other with how consistently they use the word fuck at each other. Not to mention that even Brock himself admitted at an earlier part, or implied an admission, that it was some other guy who did not have his lights on and not Gage. So Gage shouldn't have been almost punched either way. What these two stories both show is that too much of the time when an argument gets to the point of hitting people for talking shit, the person doing the hitting is too irrationally angry to where they can't think logically and realize that what they thought was said in the argument was not actually said, and they couldn't realize that until it was too late and they already clocked their victim. Granted, Will Smith doesn't really fall under this, as his reasoning for hitting Chris Rock was for him telling jokes at the expense of his fake wife, and Chris did in fact do that. But still, because people wanting to hit for shit getting talked are too often angry to where they become stupid, I think the talk shit get hit rule should be done away with. I guess there are a very few exceptions, like if someone is repeatedly insulting or harassing you or your family with words, and even though they're not technically hitting you, if they're within arm's length, then it might be okay, but emphasis on them being within arm's length, because Chris wasn't in arm's length of Will or Jada, far from it. Don't go out of your way to hit someone over mere words. But that's all I have to say. Tell me what you guys think. Did I at least make a thought-provoking case for why talk shit get hit is bad? I know that there are plenty of little shits out there in the world who act like they haven't gotten spanked enough when they were a kid and maybe do need some kind of physical repercussion to get the lesson through to them, but I just think that way of thinking can get way too abused. And I know that at this point, even the two main stories I wanted to talk about are half a year old now, and I would have talked about them when they were more fresh, but this is something I still felt like I needed to talk about in relation to personal stuff in my life, but also kind of relating to the issue of punching Nazis when the supposed Nazi you want to punch is likely not even a Nazi. I'm the Dark Conservatarian. Thank you for listening to my thoughts, and God bless. Here's a brief little blooper for y'all. Per according to the assaulters and their defenders, both psychers, Psychers, yeah, Warhammer 40k.